Hello and welcome. This is Tracy from Serendipity Stress Solutions. Thank you for joining me here today. We're going to talk about stress today and why we might get stressed, what happens in our body when we get stressed, and how to deal with stress. So if we move on to the first part, why do we get stressed? Well, at the moment, obviously, we've got a lot of health issues in the world, and so that might be, well, that probably is the major thing that's causing us stress at the moment, whether it's about our health or loved ones' health. But in a normal situation, we would be getting stressed about demands on our time. These days, success is made to look busy, and we tend to find that our work and our home lives are mingling, and there is a lot of pressure on us to look perfect. So I would like to ask you, who answers their emails on their day off? Because I think things like this are a normal part of our daily life these days. We're actually expected to be available all of the time. This also comes in the form of when we're doing life admin, answering personal emails, and also online shopping. The work and the home tasks tend to overlap. We don't tend to have any time for ourselves these days. We're deprived of even micro breaks. When I say micro breaks, like little things like standing in a queue, we might get our phone out and go on that. We don't sit in the moment. And one example of this, a few weeks ago, before we were doing social distancing, I was on a train to London and everyone was sitting there on their phones. And I just thought that is so sort of like they're just being consumed by their phones. I sat there and I was looking out the window and I was watching around, and I was the only one doing that. Now, 10 years ago, we wouldn't have had emails on our phones. We wouldn't have had that pressure. We need to give ourselves permission to have these micro breaks and to relax. Stress is the root cause of so many health issues. I see this a lot at work. So we need to try to find little breaks for ourselves. If we now move on to what's happening in our body, our normal natural rhythm is disrupted by stress. So our sympathetic nervous system reacts in such a way that we have the fight or flight response, which produces cortisol into our body. And this is a perfectly natural stress hormone that is released into our body. And if in the olden days we were fighting an animal to kill an animal for food, or even these days if it was our first day at school or we're going for a job interview, this stress response works and helps to heighten our performance. It gives us butterflies in our tummy, increases our heart rate, increases our rate of breathing, our pupils will dilate. The blood flow from our digestion system to our digestion system will lessen, and if this comes and goes, that is fine. And when it's balanced with the rest and digest part of our nervous system, otherwise known as the parasympathetic part of our nervous system, the relax and the stress response, relaxation kicks in and the stress response turns off. This is brilliant. But when this doesn't happen, we can end up with feelings of fear, apprehension. We can get anxiety, which is a natural response to stress. But anxiety can cause anxiety disorders and phobias, and this anxious feeling lowers our immune system. So we need to try to keep from having this stress response on a continued basis in our body, especially at the moment. So how can we resolve this stress response and go from having the sympathetic nervous system turned on to having it turned off and getting the parasympathetic rest and digest part of our nervous system working? Well, we can create things, be creative instead of consume things. Now, every day, try and carve out 15 minutes or half an hour for yourself, just for you, so that you can think about what makes you feel calm and what makes you feel relaxed. Now, this needs to be time out, so it could be that you're colouring, reading, knitting, anything that gives you time alone to recover. You need to pick restful things that do not go along with any IT. So anything that's restful that doesn't involve your phone or computer would be perfect. You need time alone. You could just sit and think. You could journal. We tend to scroll on our phones to actually avoid having this time alone. So we need to make sure that we're balancing our work and our play and having a routine. If we create a routine, that will bring us a habit, and then we will link the routine to those habits, and we will find that we will be brimming with meaning. Our lives will brim with meaning and purpose. So that will bring us into a happier and calmer and less reactive state, which is very important at the moment. So I hope you found this useful on how our body reacts to stress, and I'm hoping that if you know how it reacts to stress, you'll then be able to move forward in your life and create some calm. So I'll see you soon. Bye bye.